For 8 years, Yuri Sipko ran one of the largest Baptist organizations in Russia. Now, 20 years after the fall of communism, he worries about the growing threats against the country's evangelical movement.
The collapse of communism was supposed to usher in an era of greater religious freedom, but I'm concerned we're moving in the wrong direction.
And what makes evangelical Christians here in Russia very uncomfortable is this emerging, apparent, cozy relationship between the Russian government and the Russian Orthodox Church.
For example, the government recently introduced religious classes based on the principles of the Orthodox Church in public schools. Then late last year, the Russian president announced an initiative to appoint Orthodox chaplains to all army units. Our constitution clearly states no religion can be a state religion.
Russian watchers credit these two men, Prime Minister Vladimir Putin and President Dmitry Medvedev, for elevating the church's prominence. The media has also played a key role, often showing the leaders attending church services. Sergei Rakovsky knows both men well. As head of Russia's Pentecostal Union, he meets regularly with top government and Orthodox Church leaders. He worries that the Orthodox Church's influence is coming at the expense of religious freedom, especially for minority groups such as Christians, Jews, Muslims, and Buddhists.
There are so many laws and bylaws that regulate religious life in Russia. For example, evangelical Christians just can't go out and buy a church or buy a piece of land to build a church.
The Orthodox Church, on the other hand, has had it easy in recent times after decades of state persecution. Churches destroyed during the Soviet era are being rebuilt with Russian taxpayer money. In the past 20 years, the government has spent hundreds of millions of dollars restoring some 23,000 churches. Most Russians say they belong to the Orthodox Church, yet we found mixed reactions on the streets of Moscow to the growing bond between church and state.
I belong to the church and I'm happy to see our leaders embrace the institution.
But we just need to look to the Islamic countries in the Middle East to see the potential dangers of such a strong relationship between religion and state.
Roman Lankin is a human rights advocate based in Moscow. He says the head of the Orthodox Church is on a mission to expand its powers and influence.
Patriarch Kirill, the new head of the Russian Orthodox Church, is attempting to turn the church into a more missionary-oriented religion and to depart from the old image of Orthodoxy as a museum religion that is old and out of date.
The Orthodox Church's biggest competitors are the evangelical charismatic congregations that are experiencing tremendous growth.
So many Russians are leaving the Orthodox Church and joining the charismatic churches, and they don't like it.
Rykovsky gave CBN News a document produced by a leading Russian research group and backed by the Orthodox Church. The study is titled Ways to Weaken the Potential of Neo-Pentecostal Sects and to Help Their Victims.
These new charismatic and Pentecostal churches are viewed as cults and something to be suspicious of.
Once a persecuted minority, evangelical Christians are exerting more influence in society by displaying what it means to be a true follower of Jesus Christ.
People are looking for meaning, they're looking for authentic lifestyles, authentic relationships. And so in the midst of all the economic and social changes, we have the opportunity to demonstrate what a personal relationship with Jesus is like.
George Thomas, CBN News, in Moscow.